Hi, welcome to a YFC Force training video. In this training video, we're going to cover roles and profiles and really give a 10,000 foot view of roles and profiles and the importance of really taking your time to understand who's seeing what and how to set and restrict some of the user access restrictions. First of all, we do want to disclaim that this is a system admin function only. Please don't just play around with some of these settings, as it could definitely have ripple effects. So we are logged into our Salesforce developer org for Youth for Christ, and what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the back-end menu and talk about roles and profiles, because within Salesforce there's a lot of different ways to customize visibility. So the most hierarchical way of customizing visibility is just simply based on user and whoever owns the records. So what I'm going to find here is security settings. Under our security and controls, we have quite a few different ways to restrict and or open up access restrictions. I'm going to quick go into sharing settings, and you're going to see some overall sharing settings in this section. You're going to see default internal access, external access, which many of you won't run into. But you'll be able to set the user level accesses. So let's say, for instance, this custom staff object, a lot of click and pledge objects here, but staff, that you'd only want to see it as a read-only. So only if you own the record. So let me go up to how this would play out. So if I go ahead and find a staff record, pull up Wrestle here, you'll see that everything in Salesforce has an owner, and you'll see your username or someone else's username. So on a staff object, if we opened up a donation record, you'll see that this was created by. It's typically also the user that's there. If the username on this isn't shown, you can edit the layout and add that user into the layout. Pull opportunity owner in there quick. So once again, if we go out to the household record, you'll also see the same account owner. So based on those owner privileges and or permission sets, that is how those sharing settings work. So once again, security controls, sharing settings. So if we wanted to limit access to donation records that are only entered or owned. The hard part about that is you have to, if you need access, you have to ask access for other folks, right? So really, it's just if you own them, or you're also the person that manages that person, you can set up a role in which you can have like a hierarchy of seeing their data. But for the most part, it really just looks at the owner of the record if you change things in here. So just for instance, if we hit edit here, you'll be able to see some of the options. So if we go to opportunity, which is also donations, you can make it private, public read-only, public read-write. So if we did public read-only, everyone would be able to see it, but obviously not edit. If you went to private, that would just fully lock it down. A lot of times on sharing rules, it has to reconfigure, so you may see this notification. That just takes a while for that to come into effect. I just want to show that as an example. So default for external, like I said, you won't use that very many times. For internal is where you can really control the visibility settings on those. So I'm going to cancel that out. So that's one way of being able to close some user restrictions. But like I said, if there was, if we go back to the sample record, say there was a test donation or donation record that maybe I own, but I wanted to share with someone else, but they were under my hierarchy. So it's a lot of different management of that. So if they're not in your hierarchy of your organization, they're not going to be able to see that, and they have to change the owner name so then they can see it. So sometimes there's a lot of back and forth to request access, and can become a little bit more management maybe than you really wanted to, wished, or needed. Let me show you the roles here as well as I'm talking the company hierarchy. So if you type in roles, you can see that there, so user roles. So you can set up a territory-based example, company size-based, really just kind of examples they're showing you there. And then these are how you add different roles. So maybe I want to add a sales member, reports to the CEO, hit save. So basically what this is doing, I'll go back to roles here. What this is doing, it is anybody that's under the CEO of the CEO's roles, they can see all of their records based on that public read-only, read-write security settings. But if, say you were, the VP of marketing down here, you couldn't see the SVP of sales and marketing. Hopefully that makes some sense. So you'll probably be customizing a lot of these. So that's one way of limiting restrictions to your organization. The second and more robust way to limit access restrictions is under profiles here. If I click on profiles under manage users, and this is really the way that we built the Youth for Christ base box organization. As you'll see the kind of the core profiles that we've created here. And it also corresponds with YFC development, data programming, program staff. So if I clicked on YFC data processing, this is a profile that's actually assigned to different users. So if I went in there, I could actually view the users. But this is where, based on that profile, you can set just about any restrictions and or field accessibilities all the way down to individual fields. So much more robust. It's just you really got to know what you want before you start diving into these things. The last thing you want to do is be able to kind of lock down the system, and then people just get frustrated and they just don't want to use it anymore. So I'm going to jump into just some field level security just as an overall topic on how to do this. So here's some field level security. This is object level security. So you can view assignments and what they see in page layouts. So everyone in Youth for Christ base boxes uses the same page layouts. Maybe you want a different page layout, kind of the way that you visualize a donation record or whatever it may have you. You can set that up here. Field level security is probably the more pertinent here. So if I go to, let's find individual record, it can also be named as contact, current donations, oh, I'm sorry, that's under custom. So contact is also the same as individuals, you should know. So we hit view. So this is where it has all the different fields within that object screen. Let me pull up an individual here, so hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. So if I go to Matt Foster, I'm going to be able to see all these different fields. YFC involvement, their contact information, donation information. Say just for this profile, I just didn't want them to see last gift date. That's just very important to us that they didn't see that. So what I would do here is find last gift date. Right here, as I can see, it's a date. I have to go up to the top, hit edit. So just go down here again, last gift date. It's here, date, and I just uncheck it. So it's not even visible. Or you can do read only so they can't edit it. So maybe last gift date here again. I only want them to see it but not be able to edit it. And that's where you can lock that down there as well. So it gets much more robust, and you really have to have, in hindsight, within your organization, a way to do checks and balances. Last thing you want is a remote staff person or even someone sitting right next to you seeing something totally different, or going through training and not being able to access what they need to access. So this is the much more robust way to go individual field level and change different permission sets and settings. So once again, I'm going to cancel out of this. We'll go back to the profile. And this is really where there's a lot of different settings in here. Obviously, you can see. You can limit the tabs that they see. You can see custom tabs, whether the tabs are also the objects that you see up top here. So you can really get very robust and very detailed into profiles. And one reason why we didn't roll this off with the initial base box is just because it is almost personalized to a certain extent. There's some generalizations we could make, but also there's might be some chapters that just want everybody to be able to see everything. So the way that your default base box is configured is with the doors wide open. So just know that when you're onboarding other users within your Salesforce organization. So hopefully this gives you a decent overview of profiles, where you go, simple setup, profiles, and that's much more robust to edit. Otherwise, once again, you can go to security controls, sharing settings, and then that's more of a user-based restriction level. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, always feel free to click on the YFC training tab, click on support request form, go ahead and fill that out, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks again. Have a great day.